Israel Iran News Now IDF battalion may face U.S. penalties, says Israeli Defense Minister. The Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant met with the Chief of Staff of the Israel Defense Forces, Lieutenant General Herzi Halavai, to discuss the growing rumor that the United States intends to sanction the Israeli military unit known as the Netzach Yehuda Battalion, which is active in the West Bank. According to Gallant, criticizing a whole unit brings shame on the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, which safeguards Israeli civilians. This is not the correct course of action for allies and partners. Harm to one unit impacts the whole defense structure. The United States should not censure the unit, Gallant pleaded with Washington. Enemies and friends alike are keeping a careful eye on the relationship between the U.S. and Israel, more than ever before, Gallant stated. The U.S. administration should reconsider its plan to censure the Netzach Yehuda Battalion. Please reconsider. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Gallant just ended a call amid rumors of potential sanctions. Minister Gallant met with U.S. Ambassador to Israel Jack Lew earlier today. The Gaza Health Ministry, which is administered by Hamas, reported that 22 people, including 18 children, were killed in two strikes on the town of Rafah in southern Gaza. According to an official from the Kuwait hospital in Rafah, who talked with ABC News, at least one explosion took place at the Al-Shabora refugee camp in Rafah. A medical representative informed ABC News that medics at the Al-Shabora camp were able to save the life of an unborn child whose mother had perished in the explosion. Sabrine Mohammed Al-Sakani was named as the mother by authorities. At the given times, the IDF hit various military targets of the terrorist organizations in Gaza, including military installations, launch points, and armed terrorists, the Israeli Defense Forces informed ABC News, confirming the strikes, after a bloody operation in the Ner Shams sector of the Tulkarm camp in the West Bank, which lasted for days and claimed the lives of 14 terrorists. The Israeli defense men withdrew their men. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, announced in a statement that the Israel Border Police Forces conducted considerable counterterrorism activity in the vicinity of Ner Shams based on IDF and ISA, Israel Security Authority, intelligence. The forces eliminated 14 terrorists in close-quarters battle, captured 15 wanted suspects, seized numerous weapons, and destroyed dozens of explosive devices as well as 2 terror explosives laboratories, read the Israeli Defense Forces statement regarding the raid that started on Friday. Fire exchanges between Israeli forces and the terrorists resulted in the deaths of all of them, according to the IDF. At least one Israel border police officer and 9 Israeli Defense Forces soldiers have been lightly to moderately wounded in combat since the operation began, according to the IDF. According to the Palestine Red Crescent Society, the raid killed 14 individuals. They are the first responders in the West Bank, under the Leahy Law, which allows the Secretary of State to withhold funding from foreign military units accused of human rights violations. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that the department will announce his determinations regarding the Israel Defense Forces in the coming days. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, might face sanctions and a cutoff of military aid if the U.S. government takes this action. To claim that you will notice results quickly would be an understatement. I've made my determinations, and you can expect to see them in the days ahead, he told the journalists gathering for the G7 summit. Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, issued a statement on X arguing that the Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, should not be subject to sanctions. Discussions with high-ranking American government officials are just one example of how I've been fighting against sanctions on Israeli citizens in recent weeks. Saturday, Netanyahu stated, the plan to impose a fine on a unit in the IDF is the height of foolishness and a moral low. He said that our soldiers are now combating terror creatures.